section 3.6. So as I told you a couple minutes ago on section 3.5, just some small little things, kind of wrapping up some statement information, and then 3.7 and 3.8, you can see a lot of applications on this. Why do we need to know this? Where am I going to use this? Okay, so 3.5 focused in on equivalence and a little bit of some different conditional statements. 3.6 is going to focus in on negating some of these compound statements. Okay, so a couple things. If we want to negate a conditional statement, okay, negate a conditional statement. So it is not true that if blank, then blank. So you're going to see that it is not true that pop up in this. Okay. So if we want to negate a conditional statement, then that means what you're going to do is you're going to turn the conditional into an and you will negate the Q. Leave the P alone, and then turn it into an and negate the Q. So for instance, if we're working with those statements, again, you know, what I did in 3.1 with my two daughter statements, if I love mama, then I like watching YouTube videos. If I want to negate that, okay? So in other words, it would say, it is not true that if I love mama, then I like watching YouTube videos. Here's the negation of that, which would be an equivalent statement. Okay? I love mama, and I do not like watching YouTube videos. That's the negation of it is not true that if I love mama, then I like watching YouTube videos. Some other things I meant to tell you in 3.5, but I forgot to, but it's okay. I can tell you right now. Those conditional statements that we were talking about, converse, inverse, and contrapositive, they have some equivalence to them. Okay, so the conditional statement is actually equivalent to the converse statement. So know that whenever you write the conditional and the converse, they are in fact equivalent to each other. And the converse and the inverse are actually equivalent to each other. Okay? So the conditional and the contrapositive are equivalent to each other, and the converse and the inverse are equivalent to each other. Just kind of some food for thought. I should have said that in 3.5, but it's in 3.6 now. Okay, so what you're going to see in the homework, they're going to say, hey, here's an if-then statement. Please negate it. Okay, so go ahead and try these on your own. Try number 1. Try number 3. Try number 5. Okay, try those 3. I want you to negate the statements. And again, to negate them, all you're going to do is take the if-then, turn it into an and take the consequent part and negate it. Okay? And go. Okay. So, if I am in Los Angeles, then I am in California. So, the negation of this would be, I am in Los Angeles, and I am not in California. Say that again. The negation will be, I am in Los Angeles, and I am not in California. Because that's all we had to do. Keep the beginning the same. Becomes an and. Negate. So number 3, the negation would be, it is purple and it is a carrot. It is purple and it is a carrot, because I had to unnegate this. Okay? And then last but not least, he doesn't and I will not. He doesn't and I will not. So that's what you're going to see. Again, these are going to be really, really straightforward. It's going to be, here's an if then, please take the negation of it. All right. And last but not least in here, since we're talking about negating statements, we have De Morgan's Law. What De Morgan's Law allows us to do is negate and an ors. Okay? De Morgan's Law is going to be kind of like, it looks a little bit like the distributive property. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not really distributing, but it looks like it. Okay? So De Morgan's Law is how we negate and an ors. So if I want to negate this or problem, what you're going to do, it's like you're going to distribute the negation through, and then the or will become an and. Okay? It's like it flips it all. We negate it, we flip it, we negate it. And the same thing's going to happen down here to the and. If I want to negate an and, negate the two statements and make it an or. And again, these are all equivalent to each other. Okay? So again, in the assignment, they're going to give you some statements, just like these, and they're going to say, okay, please negate this, or use De Morgan's Law. It actually will probably say use De Morgan's Law to negate the statement. Notice it says, it is not true that. Remember that when you have this, it is not true that part, that just means negation parenthesis. Okay? And notice this is an and. So Australia is P and China is Q. So that's what they want you to negate. So you know that in order to negate it, all you're going to do is negate the P, turn it to an or, negate the Q. So this would become Australia is not an island, or China is not an island. Okay? Australia is not an island, or China is not an island. So in here, I want you to go ahead and try number 12. Give me the negation. This one right here, it is not the case that. That is the same thing as it is not true that. Okay? So this is just another way of writing it is not true that. We sometimes say it is not the case that. Okay? So again, this is a negation and then a parenthesis that's right there. Okay? So 12, try 14, and try 16. Yeah. Go for those. Okay. So, if you look at this, it is not the case that, so that's a negation followed by a parenthesis. Say the course covers logic, there's a P, and dream analysis. So there's your Q. So what we're really looking for is to negate. I don't know why I didn't start with 12. I started with 14. I'll go back to number 12. Negate the P, make it an or, negate the Q. Okay? That's what we're looking for. So the negation of the statement would be, the course does not cover logic, or the course does not cover dream analysis. Either one. Okay? Now, again, there are lots of ways to write this, but I'm just giving you the way that I would put it. Okay? The course does not cover logic, or the course does not cover dream analysis. Up here, again, you can see that it is not true that, so negation parenthesis. Florida is P, it's an and, California is your Q. So we would want negate P or negate Q. So we would say Florida is not a peninsula, or California is not a peninsula. Florida is not a peninsula, or California is not a peninsula. And then last but not least, right down here, again, there's that negation followed by parenthesis. So Martin Luther King supported violent protests. That's P. Oh, this time it's an or. The Vietnam War is Q. So in our case now, we want to negate P and negate Q. That would be the negation of this using De Morgan's law. So our statement would say Martin Luther King Jr. did not support violent protests and did not support the Vietnam War. Okay? So again, Martin Luther King Jr. did not support violent protests and did not support the Vietnam War. And again, there are lots of ways to write this. It's your call. But that's all there is in 3.6. They just want you to negate some statements, whether it's a conditional or whether you're using De Morgan's law to negate. And that's it. Enjoy.